Says, let me see again, Alav Shalom. During his great military campaign, Alexander the Great, Alexander Makedonsky, he went to a distant land and he sat with the king. He met with the distant land's king. And meanwhile, while he's talking to this king, two people who had a beef, who had an argument, walked in. They had litigants, had a bedin, and they asked the king to be the judge. So one litigant said, I bought a field for my friend, and I found a treasure over there. I found a big treasure. Now the treasure doesn't belong to me, and I want to give it back to the seller. I want to give it back to the guy who sold me the land. Listen, it's not right. I should keep it. He should keep it. Then the other litigant said, when I sold the field, in the contract it says the field and everything inside. So I sold it. It's not mine. It says he should keep it. I don't want to take the treasure. So look at this. These two tzaddikim.
You don't have people like that no more.
I want you to have the money. No, I want you to have the money. So
I want you to work.
Yeah. So Alexander Makedonsky, he's shocked. He's like, what is this going on? So never did he see such a case, and he was very curious. I want to hear what the king has to say. What he's going to say about this case. So the king asked the buyer, do you have a son? He says, yes. He turned to the seller, you have a daughter? He says, yes. If so, marry one another and give the money to them. So Alexander the Great started laughing. Laughing? Why is he laughing? The king said, what? What I did was funny? What, you would have said something else? So Alexander Makedonsky said, yes, of course I would have done something else. He said, what would you do? He says, I would behead both of them, take the money myself. He said, he was shocked. He said, I don't understand. In Greece, where you're from, do you guys have the sunrise over there? Do you have sun over there? Are you guys normal? Are you guys have any heart? Do you have any soul? Like, what's wrong with you? So he's like, well, what do you mean? Of course. The sun rises in Greece. We have very nice sun, very shiny over there. And it's bright. And he says, does rain fall over there? He says, yeah, what do you mean? We have rain. He says, our crops grow very good. He says, do you have animals? Do you have donkeys? Do you have cows? Do you have, fox? Do you have this? He said, yeah, we have all these types of animals. You have horses, we have sheep. He says, it is only on their account that you have sun and rain, for the people of your land are unworthy of these blessings. So what he was saying to him, he said, you have to understand that it's you have to have everyone else in mind and not only think about yourself. A person has to realize that who says because of you everything comes, because of you, the zechut of others, the fact that you have all these other things going on around you, you don't know how much credit you have to give to the people around you. Who says it's because of you? So therefore, the sages are teaching us that a person has to make sure that he's honest and he's righteous, especially when it comes to money. Our sages were the exact opposite of Alexander the Great. They didn't only think about themselves. The Midrash says that Shimon ben Shetach, he was poor, he bought a donkey, and on the donkey he received from the Arab, there was a big diamond, right? And the student said, oh, Rabbi, that's it, you're wealthy, you got a donkey, and that's it. Even though the diamond was on the neck, it's included in the donkey, that's it. Just assume, people usually are quick to assume, listen, it fits the bill, it's part of the contract, it's okay, monkey business, give it to me, it's mine. And then for what? They try to finagle with the words. But Shimon Shetach said, no, I bought a donkey, I didn't buy a diamond. He went and he returned the donkey, being a big Kiddush Hashem. The Arab said, but blessed is Hashem, right? Great is Hashem, the God of Shimon ben Shetach. So why did the Arab praise Hashem instead of Shimon ben Shetach? Rav Yonah Lopian, Alav Shalom explains, the Arab understood that for a poor man to return a gem, he's not even required to. That is a huge, extraordinary feat. You have to have great morals. You have to have great midot to be able to return such a thing. And he says, what? How can the person ever get such a midot? There's no way. Every single person would probably just say, shh, let me just keep it, or leave me alone. But since he gave it back, he's connected to something higher than this world. He must be connected to some higher power. Therefore, he's connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who gave you the strength. Blessed is HaKadosh Baruch Hu who gave you the strength. So therefore, a person has to know, we have to be like the Chachamim. We have to be like the Chachamim, and we not try to only think how to squeeze our way in, and to try to go and finesse people, or scheme people in order to have. We're going to have whatever we're going to have. Because who says you deserve? Maybe you don't deserve this, and it's a test. To serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have to have clean hands. What does King David say? Say, Neki kapayim ubar levav. Person has to have clean hands. Whoever has chista ruki, right? He is bar levav. He has a heart. People say you have to have a good heart. What does David HaMelech say? What's the sign of a good heart? He says you have to have Neki kapayim ubar levav. If you have clean hands and a good heart. So you see that it's not clean hands from soap and water, from germs. It means clean hands, which means that you're an honest and straight person. You're not like an employee who goes and takes from his employer's time to watch basketball for 20 minutes. Not a guy who goes and makes personal phone calls while he's supposed to be working. You don't do things on expense of other people's money. You have them in mind. You understand that other people's money is very important and I can't just do whatever I want with it. And it's okay, don't worry about it. And you just make all these decisions thinking it's okay to go and step over other people's money. So therefore, person has to make sure you go to a store, you use something and it breaks, you use something and it gets damaged, you have to be honest, you have to say something about it, right? A person has to make sure that under pressure you only have yourself in mind. You have to have in mind the other person. And when a person does this, you're going to be able to have a share in the siyata d'shmaya. We'll end with the story of the Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim said a story he heard from the Rav Chaim Volozhiner, the students of Rav Chaim Volozhiner. He says in that time the yeshivas didn't have dorms, didn't have lunchrooms. Boys would leave a year at a time to go study in a distant town, and they would eat and sleep in different people's houses in the community, different days of the week. So there was a student who was a student at Yeshiva Volozhin. One day he borrowed a few pennies from one of the hostess that had him that day. And he told the lady, sometime later he had to go home unexpectedly. He says, I have to run to go catch the train. He told his friend, please do me a favor, take these pennies, give it back to this woman who I ate dinner by. So then his friend said, okay, no problem. This boy went on the train, and unfortunately after arriving home, this boy passed away for whatever reason it was. Very unfortunate. A few nights later, Rav Chaim Volozhiner was in the yeshiva when he saw his deceased disciple. He saw the student that passed away. He says, what are you doing here? Why aren't you in Gan Eden? So they said they won't let me in. He says, why? He says, you were one of the best boys in the yeshiva. You studied Yad Shamayim. I used to see how you see Bekat Mazon. You're a big tzaddik. He says, no. They found on my record one thing. That's why they don't let me in. He says, I borrowed a few pennies and somebody didn't give it back. My friend forgot to give it to him when I told him to. So down there, they said, until you don't get these pennies back, you're not coming in. And I'm stuck waiting. So therefore, I begged them to let me in. I begged them to have mercy. And still, I told them I didn't even do it on purpose. I borrowed it, and my friend didn't give it back. It's not my fault. I did my part. Still, since it wasn't given back, they blocked me. Rav Chaim right away called this other boy who was supposed to give the pennies, and he says, did so and so give you money to give back to the lady? He says, oh yeah, I forgot. He says, now right away you should do it. And what? He found out afterwards, Chaim Volozhin saw that he was able to get into Gan Eden. Obviously, they had these huge revelations, the great tzaddikim they were, but look, person who owed somebody else money, the Gaon of Vilna says you have to come back Gilgul if you didn't pay him back. But here, he wanted to get in Gan Eden, he couldn't. For a few pennies, no matter how big tzaddik you are, if you don't have clean hands, you should know that's part of being religious and being ben adam lehavero. Being religious means you care about other people's money like you care about yours, and you can't make your own decisions with it. You have to have in mind the other person.